Welcome to this video tutorial on section 7 of the Blossoming Blanket Crochet-Along. This section is called the Bobble Bouquet Blanket Strip, and it is a really fun take on creating flowers with your crochet. So I'll jump right into the tutorial here, but we have a mix of double crochet stitches, single crochet stitches, bobble stitches to make the puffy parts of the flower, and some post stitches. So I'll walk you through each of those stitches as we go along. And I just want to say I have my size 7 crochet hook that's 4.5 millimeters, and I have some light worsted weight yarn. This is Karen Simply Soft by that you can find at a lot of your big box stores, but you can find your favorite light worsted weight, and this pattern works really in any weight yarn. So if you have regular worsted weight, that's fine. This section is about 5 inches tall, using my gauge and hook, and with the crochet along, it's going to be 180 stitches long, but I'll talk you through the repeats where you can make your own version of this as well. All right, let's get started. If you're using this pattern for the Blossoming Blanket Crochet-Along, you already are going to have a base of stitches from the previous sections. However, if you're going to use this pattern for your own blanket, we're going to need to start with a row 1 that is all single crochet stitches. So you can make foundation single crochets, or you can make a long chain and then single crochet back into that chain. And we're going to do that in multiples of 18 stitches. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to make 2 repeats, so 36 stitches long, and because I don't have the previous section of the blanket, I'm just starting as if this were my own blanket. I'm going to make foundation single crochets. If you are following the Blossoming Blanket Crochet-Along, then this first row is just going to be, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet into every stitch of the blanket. And row 1 is going to be the right side of your work. Okay, we're at the end of row 1. We're going to turn our work and begin row 2. Okay, for row 2, to start, we're going to chain 2 stitches. This is going to count as a stitch. So our first double crochet is not going to go into this very first single crochet. It's going to go into the next stitch. We're going to count these 2 chains as 1 stitch. So we're going to do 4 double crochets. And then we're going to back post double crochet, which into the single crochet row before here or below here. It's a little tricky if you haven't done back post stitches into single crochets, but if you're looking at the single crochet, take my hook out here. This is the stitch that we're going to use and do our back post stitch around, which means we're going to insert our hook from the back on one side of the stitch, and then we're going to go around the other side of the stitch. We're going to come back and stick it in this hole. So on either side of that stitch, if you pull it apart, you can see those holes a little better. And we're going to make a regular double crochet. We're just changing where the hook is going. So instead of sticking it under these V's, we're going to come in from the back. So let me show you how that works. And we're going to get some practice at this in this first row. So yarn over once, come in from behind your stitch, stick your hook back through to the other side of the stitch, so you're under the V's, and you also have, you see your stitch gets pushed to the back of your work. It's going to make it jump out off the fabric, and then you're going to yarn over and complete your double crochet the way you normally would. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So from this side, this is the back side, the wrong side of your work. You don't really see the difference too much, but when we flip it over, it'll become a little bit more apparent. The stitch will stick out a little bit. So that is where you do the back post double crochet. And then these are the V's where we would normally have put our regular front double crochet, but we're gonna not stitch into those, and we're gonna continue with our regular double crochets. We're gonna do 6 double crochets. So just go into the next stitch. Okay, so we've done 6 double crochets, just regular stitches. And now it's time to do another back post double crochet. So again, identify your stitch. It's that post that's right next to right under where you would normally stick your hook. But we're gonna yarn over and come in from behind, stick it back through under those V's, then regular double crochet to finish. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, if those V's are there, don't stitch into those. We're gonna do 10 double crochets now. Okay, in the pattern, I know I'm working only 2 repeats, but if you're working the full repeat, you're gonna repeat this where we started with just the first back post double crochet. You're gonna repeat 1 back post double crochet, 6 regular double crochets, another back post double crochet, and 10 regular double crochets. You're gonna repeat that until there's 13 stitches remaining. And then we're going to repeat almost all of that to the end of the row. So right now I have 13 stitches remaining. I'm going to do a back post double crochet. I'm going to do 6 regular double crochets. Okay, got 6 of those done, and then I'm going to do another back post double crochet. I'm going to finish out with 5 double crochets to finish this row. Okay. There's the end of row 2, and that's the back side of our work, so you can't really see those post stitches, but when we flip it over, you can kind of start to see those back post double crochets. They'll be more prominent as we move along, but they do stick out on top of your work a little bit. All right, so on to row 3. All of the odd number rows, so when you're working on the right side of your work, all of the right side rows are going to be single crochet in every stitch. So that's going to make it fast and easy for you. But you're going to chain 1 to start. The chain does not count as a stitch. So on my first single crochet, it's going to go into that first stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet all the way across this row. Okay, I'm at the end of my row, and I want to show you that the chain 2 from the beginning of row 2 counts as a stitch and counts every time. So you're going to put that last single crochet into the top of that chain 2. And there you have the end of row 3. I'm going to turn our work and begin row 4. So this is going to be a row with the back post stitches, but instead of double crochets, we're going to do treble crochets, and they are going to go, instead of going into that single crochet, they're actually going to go around the post of those double crochet, back post double crochets we made from row 2. So they will be easier to find as we go along because they will be raised off the fabric. But let's get started. So we're going to chain 2. It counts as a stitch. We're going to do 4 regular double crochets. Okay, so now we're going to back post treble crochet into the back post double crochet from row 2. So you can kind of see it. It kind of looks wonky if you're looking at it from the back side, and you can see the material kind of sticks out. So again, all the mechanics of a regular treble crochet. So we yarn over 2. It's just going to matter where you stick your hook. So you find the post of that back post treble or double crochet from row 2. You're going to stick your hook in from the back side, right? So let me show you. You have the holes on either side. So come in from the back side, stick it back in on the other side of the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then finish off your treble crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. If I can do that. All right, let me try this again. Come in from the back, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, let's start over. Okay, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, pull through the next 2, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. There we go. Finally got it. Okay, so now if I flip my work over a little bit, you'll definitely be able to see when you're making this that back post double crochet, if I turn it this way, I think you can see it better, is going to stick out off of your work. And then from behind, you'll see that they stack on top of each other. Now, the next thing we're going to do is 6 double crochets. So we're making the stems right now of these flowers. So we're kind of following the same pattern as we did for row 2. We're just doing it with back post treble crochets. So skip this first, this stitch that you didn't go into for the single crochet. And you're going to just do 6 double crochets into those single crochet rows. The only time we're going to stitch into the 2 rows below is for these back post treble crochets for the stems. So you don't have to worry about it. All the rest of the times you're just making regular double crochet stitches. Okay, so I have made my 6 regular double crochets. It's time for another back post treble crochet. So yarn over twice, come in from behind, stick my hook back through to the front, or to the back, I guess. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull 2 through 2, yarn over, keep finishing out that stitch. Now we're going to do another 10 double crochets. So skip that single crochet you didn't use, 10 double crochets. Okay, so I've done 10 double crochets. Time for another back post treble into row 2. And I guess I should clarify, we're going to repeat the part, not this treble, but we're going to repeat from the treble crochet, the first back post treble, 6 double crochets, back post treble, 10 double crochets. We're going to repeat that until we have 13 stitches remaining again. And so then we're going to do a back post treble, which I just did, 6 double crochets, Okay, another back post treble crochet into row 2. And then we're going to finish out with 5 double crochets. Okay, here's the back side of it. Let's flip it over. Take a look. You can start to see that all those stems are popping off your fabric really nicely. Coming up, we're going to do, it's going to be row 5, which is a row of single crochets, followed by row 6, which is a repeat of the row we just did. So rewind if you need to, but you're going to follow row 4 directions, and then row 5. So that's okay. So row 5 is single crochets, row 6 is just a repeat of row 4, and then row 7 is another row of single crochets. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll be back for row 8. Okay, we're back, and I've worked through row 7. So you can see how these stems are coming along. Row 8, we're going to have one more row that has the back post treble crochets in it, but we're also going to add in some bobble stitches to start the flowers off. So let's take a look at how that works. So chain 2 and turn your work, or turn your work and chain 2, whatever you've been doing. And row 8 starts off with 3 double crochet stitches. All right, into the next stitch, we're going to make our first bobble stitch, and the directions or the notes for this pattern are that we're going to make a 5 double crochet cluster bobble stitch. There's a few different ways you can make a bobble stitch, but this one's going to be using 5 double crochets into the same stitch. So if you've made a bobble before, you'll be pretty familiar with this. If you haven't, I'm going to go slow on the first one. So you're going to basically start like you're making a regular double crochet, yarn over, go into the stitch just like you normally would for a regular double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and you're going to stop here before you finish the stitch. So you're going to have one partially made double crochet on the hook. We're going to repeat that 4 more times until we have 5 of these partially made double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So if you can see, I now have 2 partially made stitches on my hook. I have 3 total loops, so I have my starting loop and then 1 for each. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to do that again, insert my hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I have 3 partially made stitches. Do it a 4th time. All right, 4 stitches on the hook. 1 more time, and I know it starts to get crowded and you got to manage it on your hook, but yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, so now we have 5 partially made double crochet stitches on our hook plus an extra loop from the beginning. So we have 6 total loops. We're going to yarn over, we're going to pull through all of those stitches or all of those loops, and I like to pinch my all the partially made ones as I pull my hook through. Just kind of helps hold them secure. And this is the bobble stitch. The bobbles are going to stick out on the other side of our work where our stems are. So you're not really going to see much when you get started, but when you pull that tight, it'll start to make the bump, and I'll show you here in a second. But first we're going to do 1 more back post treble crochet. This is going to make that stem look like it's really connected to the flower into that back post treble from the row before. And then we're going to repeat the bobble again. So yarn over, insert your hook, stop before you finish the double crochet. Do that 4 more times. And I have a tutorial on how to make bobble stitches that I can link in the description here. So if you want to go watch that in slow motion or in more detail, it can walk you through that. But I've made 5 partial double crochets, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through all the loops, and then next on the pattern we're going to do 4 regular double crochets. We're going to go right into that next stitch, so your bobble will get out of your way, but 4 double crochets. And then it's time for another set of the bobble back post treble bobble stitch, right? So we're going to make the bottom of the flower. So let's make 1 bobble. Right, completed a bobble. Now I have another back post treble into 2 rows below. And then I have another bobble into the next stitch. The yarn's getting crossed here. Okay, 1 more. 5 of those double crochets to pull through. All right, and then we're going to double crochet 8 stitches. All right, so I'm going to stop here and show you this again from the back side. It doesn't look very exciting, but we're going to repeat what we just made from the start of the very first bobble. So bobble, back post, treble, bobble. So that's 1 flower, 4 double crochets, then make the beginning of another flower, and then 8 double crochets. We're going to repeat that until we have 14 stitches remaining. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the front. You can see the stem, and you can see the bobble stitches are starting to pop out. If I turn it to the side, you can start to see how those are popping out. You can also, as you go along, you can use your finger to make them pop out even more, but they'll kind of naturally do it on their own because of all those double crochet stitches in there. So 14 stitches remain when you get to the end of your row. We're going to do another bobble, then we have a back post treble, 2 rows down, followed by a bobble, then we're going to do 4 double crochets, All right, so that's the end of row 8. We flip it over. We can see those flowers starting to turn out. Row 9 is going to be a row of single crochets. So I'm going to go do that and I'll be back when it's time for row 10. Okay, we finished row 9. We're ready for row 10. This is going to be all double crochet and bobble stitches all the way across. So let's chain 2. And we're going to double crochet 2. And then the next is going to be bobble stitches and to make the flower. So we're going to do a bobble, these bobble stitches are going to be offset from the bobble stitches below, so they're not going to be done directly on top of where those previous bobble stitches are. Make one bobble, a double crochet, just a regular double crochet, and then another bobble. This one is going to be kind of directly on top of where the stem is, in the middle of the flower. But again, we're working into the single crochet row for all of these stitches all the way across, no more having to go 2 rows below. All right, there's the middle of the flower. We need a double crochet and one more bobble. Okay, if I flip it over, you can see we have the 2 bobbles to start. This middle of the flower has 3 bobbles in it. We shall continue on. I'm going to do 2 double crochets before we do another part of the flower. So another bobble. A double crochet into the next stitch, followed by another bobble into the middle of the flower. Then a regular double crochet. And the final bobble for this flower. All right, so that's 2 flowers that have been done. And we're going to then double crochet 6 stitches into the next 6 stitches. All right, so you're going to repeat that from the very first bobble. So the middle of your flowers always go a bobble, double crochet, bobble, double crochet, bobble. So do that. 2 double crochets between the flower, another cluster of those bobbles and double crochets for the next flower, and then 6 double crochets. You're going to repeat all of that until 15 stitches remain, and then we're going to finish out the last couple flowers here with, you guessed it, a bobble, and then a double crochet, another bobble, another double crochet, and another bobble after that. All right, 2 double crochets, and then another set of the flower bobbles. So bobble, double crochet, bobble, double crochet, one more bobble, and then we have 3 stitches left, so we're going to double crochet into each of those. And that is the end of row 10. Flip our work, turn it over, and you can see the middle of the flowers are now done. They're popping off your fabric nicely. Row 11 is going to be another row of single crochets. So let's make that, and then we'll be ready for one more row of bobbles to finish out the top of this flower. All right, row 12 is going to be the last row that has the bobble stitches in it. We're going to finish up the flowers. It's going to be a lot like row 8, except for we don't have to do any of the back post treble crochet stitches. It's going to be just bobbles and double crochets. So I've already got my chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. I'm going to have a bobble, then a double crochet, another bobble, okay, so that finished. If I turn this over, you can see it's the bobbles of the rest of the flower. All right, then we're going to have 4 double crochets. And then we're going to do that bobble, double crochet, bobble, grouping of stitches. There's one bobble, need a double crochet. I have another bobble. All right, so I finished up that flower. And we're gonna do 8 double crochets. All right, then we're gonna do a bobble, double crochet bobble, another grouping for the last, for this flower. I guess I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let me finish this bobble stitch, but excluding this bobble stitch. So you're going to continue to repeat that. So you have from the top of the flower. So bobble, double crochet, bobble, 4 double crochet stitches, then another bobble, double crochet, bobble, and 8 double crochet stitches. So you're going to repeat that grouping until there are 14 stitches remaining, and then you're just going to finish up the last few flowers to the end of the row. So I've got 1 bobble, double crochet, another bobble, then we have 4 double crochet stitches, and then finish off the final flower with a bobble. Double crochet into the next stitch, bobble into the next stitch after that, and then we have 4 more stitches at the end that are just going to get regular double crochets. All right, that is the end of row 12. And flip it over so we can see that all of our flowers are completed. Awesome. We are ready for the last 2 rows of this section, which are going to be super easy. Just a row of single crochets and then a row of double crochets. So let's get started with that. Chain 1, and we're going to single crochet all the way across this row. All right, it's time for the final row, row 14. I've chained 2 to start the row, and it's really simple. You're going to double crochet in every stitch to the end of the row, and that is it. All right, we've got the end of row 14. Here's the back side of our flowers. Flip it over. Check it out. All of these finished bobble bouquet of flowers in this blanket strip. From here, you can continue on with the Blossoming Blanket Crochet-Along. I'll make sure to put a link in the description so that you can get over to the next section. You can also start this pattern over. You could just repeat the next section of the same section above it, starting with row 1 again, or you can continue to make your own blanket. Let me know what you think of this tutorial. If there's anything you found tricky, hard, I'd love to hear about it down below. And I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you next time.